Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Hearthcenter, your Tuesday night show recapping the best that's happened out of the last week in THL. I am one of your hosts, Lotus Knight, and I am joined by our great crew. Tonight, to my right side, we have the one and only Neji Boston, the Clown King himself. How are you, Neji?
I'm doing good. Happy to do another show. And yeah, excited to get into it.
For sure. Right below Neji, we have a season 22 legacy team, or whatever the name of that team is that I already forgot. The captain there, Super Chicken. How are you, Chicken?
So true. I'm great. And I'm very happy to be the captain of the Season 22 closed list conquest participants.
Nice. And right on the other side from Super Chicken, we have Geranium Battle, our quiz show specialist.
Yes. Warriors and quiz shows, two irrelevant things to be specialist in. Too bad there isn't a specialist format.
Right now, there isn't. Just wait until the Secret Return Donde's planning. But right above Geranium, we have the one and only Ron Mexico. Ron, how are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here as always. Excited to talk THL playoff stuff this week. Should be a good one.
For sure. And let's start. Before we go into THL stuff, we're still in THL stuff, but before we go into the series, let's talk about the players of the week. Geranium, why don't you tell us our hero player of the week?
Of course, our hero player of the week is none other than my teammate, Canoe. Facing an upstream battle based on regular season records, Canoe prepared his decks as his oars to do battle against 2-star Mako and came out on top with a 3-1 win in order to help another Pit of Misery advance to the semifinals. And then whatever dilly dilly means. That's from Dr. Fish.
Nice. Congratulations, Canoe, on winning player of the week. Chicken, do you want to tell us our legacy player of the week?
Yeah, our legacy player of the week is Wild Rose, who notched another win over one of Hearthstone's greats with his 3-1 smashing win over Izat. This brought the season 22 closed list conquest participants their first loss of the season and helped the Justins clinch their playoff spot over the hungry Zilfs. Do you think a Justin would be unfavored versus the gatekeeper of top 100? Do you think a Justin by any other name is nearly as strong? 4 to 5 Justins recommend you choose your next words very carefully. Brought to you by Geranium Battle.
All right. Congratulations, Wild, on Legacy Player of the Week. And last but certainly not least, Neji, tell us who is our Pro Player of the Week.
Our pro player of the week is McBanterface. This week, we recognize one of the strongest pro players to ever do it. McBanterface has had incredible success in THL in a short period of time. Last week, he clinched the week for Brushy Tuna in a must-win situation to advance us to semifinals. Pressure means nothing to the funeral simulator himself from Based Inc.
Nice.
Congratulations to all the players of the week, and to those of you who are not here. I don't know if there's another player of the week this season. Geranium can let us know if there is, but if not, there's always next season.
Yeah, any pro EU players of the week? No? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I know there was someone asking for Pro EU Player of the Week to be named. We just didn't do it. Yeah, I mean, like, generally, Players of the Week aren't named as much for playoff weeks because there's so much fewer people in the pool. So, yeah, probably not going to have another week of Player of the Week, but we could. I don't know.
I will note you're all players of the week in my heart, though. So take that as a compliment if you'd like, or not. That said, shall we move to deck of the week?
Let's do it.
All right, so we are going to bring you some of the most innovative decks that we saw in THL last week. That's right, innovative is the key word here. Neji, tell us about this first deck.
All right, we have a super innovative list called XL Ramp Druid. Insane. We got some comments from Dank's dad. You can nerf Theatar, you can nerf Guff, but you can't keep a Ramp Druid list like Dazer's down. The Jailer, Eternia, Maw, and Sylvanas run out the inclusions from the mini set, with a less optimal due process left out in favor of Miracle Growth. Ivus in a list without Oracle of Elune is an interesting tech option that isn't seen often. Yeah, looks pretty interesting. It's got the Eternia Maws there, which are nice against large priest minions that can be silenced, and some other things as well. Double spammy in there for removal. Like we said, we have the new mini set cards. There's Jailer. We got Sylvanas. Jailer is an interesting like alternate win condition. Get that down at the end, as like a final push, I guess. I haven't really seen the Jailer and Ramp Druids much, so um, might have to try that one out. But still have our normal Denathrius finisher. So it's fairly standard, but has some new options from the mini set to try out.
Yeah, I will add that the Jailer is kind of like a powerful end game option that's good against the other meta powerful late game options. Like the Jailer slam down before your opponent's Denathrius usually soaks up a bunch of damage from that, and then stays around and continues to protect your other minions. It's protected against things like Devour, protected against things like Sylvanas. So, it's a very interesting late game threat to include.
I want to ask Ron, anything you want to talk about this deck? Any special comments?
I think Geranium already kind of said it best. Like the only real difference here is the Jailer, as far as what's different from most Ramp Druid lists. It's still a strong deck. Guff is still good. If there's any deck that can still pull off a Bran Denathrius combo, it's absolutely a Ramp Druid that has ridiculous amounts of mana. This deck's just not going away and will probably hang around for a little bit longer, at least until we see, some more card changes in the next expansion.
For sure. For sure. Shall we move on to our second deck? Now, we do have a special Super Chicken deck, Aggro Druid. Tell us about it, Chicken.
Yeah, it is Druid, but it hunts demons. It is aggro demon hunter. Yeah, this list is pretty fun. This is like one card off from the list that um I think Dabs ended up on after like day 1 or 2 of the mini set. The only difference here is one magnifying glaive has been taken out for Jace, which I think is a really good inclusion. In my experience playing the deck, you do often end up with 2 magnifying glaives in your hand, and it gets pretty awkward dumping cards. Jace obviously doesn't really solve the problem of dumping cards, but there are obviously ways that you can shuffle Jace back into the deck and still get value out of your magnifying glaive and sightless magistrate. So getting the Jace early isn't too big of a deal for this deck, as opposed to um, maybe like a Fel DH, where it does just kind of sit in your hand the whole time and doesn't really do anything. Yeah, with this you can, like I said, you can just shuffle it back in and then still get full value out of your sightless magistrate, which is really what the entire deck revolves around. Um, some of the usual suspects are still here as well. Kurtrus, probably just the best Demon Hunter card still. Goes in here. Lady Sathino, maybe maybe like the second best Demon Hunter card, is also in here. So this deck kind of plays all the hits of aggro Demon Hunters of the past. But yeah, now just has a lot more fuel. I think aggro Demon Hunter is maybe a little bit underplayed right now. It's notably quite good against Ramp Druid and Curse Implock, both of which are decks that are very popular in the meta right now. Does get pretty steamrolled by like Boon slash Naga Priest and mages, so that's pretty rough for the deck. But I think in a tournament format like either closed or open list, I think it is a very solid option.
For sure. Neji, anything you want to say about Aggro Demon Hunter? Neji?
Where
Neji
is
pleads the
Neji?
fifth. Neji hates Aggro Demon Hunter.
Oh, never mind. Neji had to step out for a second.
Oh, so I'll ask Geranium here. Anything you want to say about Aggro DH?
Man, it is cool to see the DH not run relics. Actually seeing a DH without relics is crazy. And yeah, I mean, as long as you ended the game before, you would be able to play the 5-mana relic. It's a deck.
Yeah, I do think relics are pretty lame. It's just like the difference in win rate in like relic demon hunter between like drawing relics early and not drawing them early is pretty stark, or just like getting relic vault. Similar to playing a Belinda deck or something like that, but there's a few more Belindas in the deck.
Yeah. I will say for the purposes of closed list, DH looks pretty pog because unless it's specifically the major priest, as Chicken was pointing out, aggro demon hunter bullies a lot of decks, and then relic demon hunter bullies the slower control decks that are meant to do well into your aggro demon hunter. So sort of able to pick your poison.
For sure. Now, our final deck, we have a super specialist here, someone who really, really knows Warrior. Ron Mexico, tell me about this Control Warrior list.
Hey, you know I love playing Warrior all the time, every chance I get, especially when it's Control. And I'm here to talk to you about XL Control Warrior. Cope it up after languishing for weeks on ladder. It seems like Warrior fans might have a shot in the Conquest format. Now, you might be saying Kazakhstan is a glacially slow win condition, but this list packs a full slate of disruption. We got 2 copies of Call to the Stand, Theatar, Mutanus, School Teacher, which, could bring more witnesses forward. We've got Forged in Flame, Weapons Expert, Outriders Axe. I mean, there's so much card draw and consistency in this 40 card deck. It makes sure that the draw engine can get Kazakhstan online before the ice caps melt or Blizzard gives us tournament mode. Um, I myself might not personally be bold enough to actually bring this to any competitive format ever, but is that definitely is someone who can make this work. And before you say he could probably make anything work, uh, doesn't matter. He made this work, and this is the deck we're talking about. It is one of the Hearthstone decks that exists.
For sure. Geranium, as our second Warrior expert here, anything you want to add about this one?
Yeah, I mean it's really cool to see the win condition less warrior, the control warrior, still see some play. People were mainly bringing in Rage Warrior and Charge Warrior in previous weeks. But yeah, Control Warrior just stifling whatever your opponent can do. It still has ways to deal with some of these late game threats, either by getting a bunch of armor against the Denathrius, or even just pulling it out with Call to the Stand. And then versus things like the Jailer, there are ways to have the non-targeting removal, like Brawl, to still be able to clear that off. So yeah, it's interesting that we see it. It's very very pog for me.
For sure. Any final comments on this before we hop onto Hero Series?
Let's talk hero.
Okay, let's talk hero. And we're going to hop right into hero. So, to start, we're going to switch the order a bit because it doesn't make sense to do the other order. We're going to start talking about the overall standings of hero. So, we're going to go into the particular matches, but what are the matches that happened, Ron, and what is going to happen this week?
All right. Well, let's I guess start off. We're looking here at the playoff bracket. You see that uh, Chicken is back just in time to smack. Was able to get a victory over abducting players' minions to advance to face Clown Town, and another Pit of Misery was able to get their victory over Team Edward. They will advance to play against ET Yasharaj. As far as the matches themselves, they were both exactly the same in point total, interestingly enough. To start with, Chicken is back just in time to smack versus APM, one of two APMs. uh, wound up being a 15-12 victory. We had one seed Super Chicken take it down 3-1 over Genji. In the two seed, it went APM's way with Vino Spumoni taking a 3-1 over CMAC. Nine Eyebrows brought it back for Chicken with a 3-2 victory in the three seed over Lancelord. Skirt Reynolds, I understand, was the closer. This was the final played match in the 4 seed with a 3-1 win over JR Juggerlaw. In the 5 seed, it was a 5-game series as well, though, with Yfair getting a 3-2 win over You Kitten Me for the win in the 5 for APM. But that total 15-12, Chicken advances. APM looking forward to next season and rooting on the other APM who did make it in their match against Team Edward.
So we'll talk
And
about that in a little bit. I want to ask Chicken for the insights on Chicken is back just in time to smack versus abducting players' minions.
Yeah, it was very much a series that came down to the wire. I believe it was dead even going into the last match. Started off with Kitten losing 3-2 to Yfair, and almost immediately after, Nine came back and won his match 3-2, tying it up. And then unsurprisingly, C-Mac and I played our matches at the same time and got opposite results, as is usually the case. So it was still tied. So yeah, it all came down to Skirt versus JR. Yeah, I was helping Skirt prep a decent bit before his match, and I I, I thought JR was gonna bring Ramp Druid, Beast Hunter, uh, 40 card Big Spell Mage, and Curse Implock, and those are the 4 decks that he brought. So yeah, Skirt was definitely quite prepared for the match, and I think definitely had a pretty good edge going into it. So yeah, he's able to take that down, and we move on to the semis.
Nice. Um, Anyone wants to share anything else about Chicken is back just in time to smack versus APM?
I'm just going to note for both of these two matches, going into the final match, it was tied between both teams 11-11. So um, extremely close.
Sure, for sure. And speaking about extremely close matches, Geranium, I'm sure you want to talk about the other match that happened. Geranium?
Rip Geranium.
Rip.
Where did he go?
We don't have Geranium to start, so
Dead.
Sad. He was
while
just
we
talking. Poor guy.
so we will bring back Neji Boston to start warming us up with this match while Geranium is joining.
It's a me. Okay, let's go. We have another Pit of Misery, 15-12 over Team Edward. We had Always Just in Time, 3-2 over Chewy. We have Yoxter 3-2 over Geranium Battle. Wild 9 3-1 over Thalfix. G-Kick 3-1 over Laughing Frog. And Canoe 3-1 over 2-Star Mako. Exact same scoreline as the last match we covered. Very, very, very close result. I'm not sure which match it came down to in the end. Somebody else might know that. Probably Geranium.
Yeah, Wild 9 was the final
Yep.
deciding match there in the 3-2.
Gotcha. Yeah, so really, really close match overall here. I think Geranium is back, so I'll let him hop in on his team here.
Yeah, I love Discord. Okay, so this started off with it was Laughing Frog losing 1-3 to G-Kick, and then quickly thereafter, Always Just in Time took the 3-2 victory over Chewy, keeping it pretty close. You know, if either team won 2 of the last 3 matches, they were going to win the entire series. So we were very excited to have Canoe, who was 1-4 going into this, have this huge reversal over 2-Star Mako, getting the 3-1 victory. Maybe it helped that 2-Star Mako banned Paladin. Who knows? Then it came to my stream match versus Yoxter, which, if people want to watch that, it came down to basically the final 3 turns of the game, of game 5 in decisions. Like extremely, extremely close match. Yoxter holding strong, not conceding against what seemed like very, very unfavored odds, and then keeping his team in it, which Wild 9 was able to close it out with a little bit of back and forth at the beginning of the match, and then closing it out over Thalfix with Paladin to end it off and bring us to the next week.
Nice. Anyone wants to share anything else about APM versus Team Edward?
Just I had the pleasure of casting the match between Geranium and Yoxter. It was quite a thriller. Like Yoxter absolutely had to win just to keep his team in it. So props to him for coming through in the clutch. And it was super close. I mean, everything you want out of a playoff series, going to 5 games and coming down to like the last card, both players in fatigue, just crazy finish. So a thriller. And a good one to watch if you want to go back and see the VOD.
For sure. Speaking of thrillers, Jim Philos just subscribed to Tier 1 for 42 months. Thank you, Jim, for your subscription. It is much appreciated. We'll have our commercial soon. If you're thinking about subscribing, you can learn more about it then. Or not. I don't know if it teaches anything, but we try.
Maybe not.
So let's take a look at the general standings here. We have this week, we're going to have Clowns facing Chicken is Back, and E.T. Yashraj facing another Pit of Misery. So I know a few players here are biased. In fact, there's only one unbiased player. So he's the only one I'm going to ask this question. Ron, who wins Hero?
Hey, the only unbiased player here remaining because we got eliminated. Hooray! Well, I guess I kind of have to go Clown Town. They've had the strongest regular season. I think they continue that and carry on their success into a Hero Series title.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask the others and just going to move us to the other series because there's so much action
Solid.
tonight.
They all just pick their own teams. It's fine.
But let's move on to Pro. I'm going to change the order here. I'm going to keep my other hosts on their toes tonight as we hop to Hero Series, where we're going to start looking at XD facing no pros here. And to tell us about this match, we have Neji Boston.
All right, we have a very, very close match here. Zyrella's Disciples winning by a single point, 13-12, in the first playoff match for Pro here. We had Dazer 3-2 over Pee-wee. We had Seth 3-0 over XQMA. QSNS 3-1 over Just Concede. Kaz took a 3-0 over Maxibon. And Gravity Cat, I believe, emergency subbing in Tom Carter and winning 3-2 over your mom kid, which was huge for Zylo's disciples. Doesn't get much closer than that for playoffs here. Also, pretty low scoring match. We had 2 sweeps and a 3-1. So, yeah, very, very close result. And we'll see, I believe, Coney Island Clown Club taking on XD in the next round.
That's true. We'll see that match next week. I want to ask Chicken, anything you want to add about this match?
Yeah, this was pretty crazy. I was kind of following it a little bit. And I know that I think the last match was the 5 seed, right? Your mom kid
Yep.
versus Tom. It was supposed to be Tom Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy that Tom Carter like subbed out at the last minute, but XD was still able to get the win with Gravity Cat there in what I can only imagine was an insanely close 5-game series. So yeah, I mean, congrats to XD on winning this round. But yeah, this is insanely close, and yeah, it is a tough one for NPH. But yeah, I mean, they're against a very strong team, and I think they did pretty well.
For sure. For sure. Now, with that said, let's take a look at the other match that happened in Pro Pain Conference. Ron, tell us what it is.
All right, so Brushy Tuna versus the Raging Clues. We talked some smack on Donde's team prior to the season even starting. Wound up in the same conference, so wound up getting jumped by them in the standings right before playoffs started, and then wound up having to play. And this got really close. Weirdly enough, every single series ended in a 3-1, or every single match ended in a 3-1. Brushy Tuna coming out on top 14-11. The order of play, I believe, went myself in the 3 seed, taking the 3-1 over Rocinho. Ridiculous Hat got the 3-1 victory over Vino Spumoni. So Brushy Tuna started off up 8-2, needing only 1 match victory to advance. We were feeling pretty good, but then Based lost to Donde on stream. That one maybe not worth watching. Donde had a really good time beating up on Base in that series. Lotus struggled against Rami as well. It's tough to beat those GMs. And Rami getting the 3-1 there. And finally, it came down to McBanterface versus Jammies, or maybe I should say Theotar versus Jammies. And Theotar prevailed. McBanter got the 3-1 victory, and Brushy Tuna winds up punching the ticket to advance to the next round and play against a perfect Murloc.
Nice. Thank you,
Hi-
Ron, for that great description. Geranium, anything you want to add about this one?
Highlights from the Donde versus Base match, so you don't have to watch it. Don't watch it. Um, Donde's Relic DH hit everything. Base almost never hit anything the entire match. So that kind of spells it out right there. Another highlight is Donde's Ping Mage hard runs Shattering Blast. Saw that in his hand at one point. Don't know how that got there. But yeah, it all coming down. It was tied 10-10. We have a lot of ties going into the final match in these matches, and yeah, tied 10-10 going into the final match, being McBanterface versus Jammies. Just another extremely close set of matches.
For sure. Taking a look at the standings this week, we're going to have APM facing Brushy Tuna. And Candy, I don't even know the name of the team, but Neji's
Candy.
team,
Candy Island.
Can I have some?
Candy Island Clown Club. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. Facing XD. So we have two unbiased people here. I'm going to start with Chicken. Chicken, who wins?
I'm going to say the Coney Island Clown Club will win. Um, I definitely don't bet against Justin very often, and I'm not going to do that right now. He is quite a meticulous player when it comes to preparation, and he definitely does quite well in playoffs as a result of that. So I don't really see him and the rest of the clowns losing this week or any week in Pro Series.
Well,
Yeah.
so far they haven't. Just a tie.
Geranium, who do you think makes it? Who wins Pro?
Now, you may think that I'm unbiased, but I did play a week for one of these teams, and I'm backing them. I think XD is going to win the title here, or at least this next week. And fun fact, Dazer has promised themselves to get pizza if they win the entire series. And that pizza's pretty tasty.
Nice.
Pizza
Do
is
it for pizza.
tasty.
That's true. I will note,
Fact
Ron
is-
Mexico also promised all Brushy Tuna players $500 if they won Pro playoffs, and that is true. It's a fact. You can ask Chicken. Isn't that true,
Wow, what
Chicken?
a generous offer.
Yo, can I promise them on that team?
Good thing we're gonna lose.
So true.
Oh yeah, never mind. I'll stay in this team.
So, with that said, why don't we move to the series we know the most about? We're going to talk about EU here. And to start, we have Geranium Battle telling us the Pan and Cooks versus ET Nazoth, one of the semifinals for Pro U.
Yeah, Pan and Cooks narrowly squeaked it out over ET Nazoth, with Max VDP continuing to be extremely dominant with a 3-2 Game 5 over Chewy, who was previously undefeated 2 weeks ago. Pigeon also getting a Game 5 victory over Pet Pat. Why the Hunter for ET Nazoth getting the Game 5 win over Lasagna. Foodov getting winning on Game 4 against Andrew Kimgun, and then Connor sweeping in the 5 against Jack Attack. And then 1 point is what separates these two teams at the end of it all.
You know, it's just crazy to me how so many of these playoff matches are going to like one single point or one single final match. Anything you want to say about this or about this match, Neji Boss?
Yeah, really, really close one. That's what you like to see in playoffs. Don't want it to be a blowout, unless you're on the team, then you definitely do. But otherwise, it's more fun and entertaining for everyone when it's close. But yeah, well done to Pan and Cooks. Got it done barely over ET Nazoth, and we'll see them in the finals.
For sure. Taking a look at the other match, we have at the same time F12 Violet facing League of Nations. So I want to ask the F12 player here, Ron Mexico. Ron, tell me about this match.
Yeah, resident F2L expert here. Just to recap this match, once again staying on theme, it is a 1-point victory. Everything coming right down to the wire. In the 1 seed, Rami taking a 5-game victory over Den. In the 2 seed, Izat gets one for the League of Nations, 3-1 over Rocinio. Rabobson taking the 3-2 over Mighty in the 3. I think that was the deciding match. The 4 seed, we had Gaboom beating Copa in a sweep. And the 5 seed was also sweep right back with Judgment for F2L taking the victory over Parawax. So just really, really close. I'm expecting nothing less than a down to the wire championship as well. Congrats to F2L.
For sure. Congrats, F2L. Chicken, anything you want to say about this one?
Well, I actually cannot believe how close every single playoff match is, or like literally all of them were, at least I think literally all the ones we've looked at tonight have been within one match.
We looked at all
Um,
playoff matches.
yeah, yeah. No, I just mean like I think all of the ones, like all the playoff matches this week have been like within a match. And there had
Yeah, I think you're right. I think every single one was a
yeah, so
one match
I don't
difference.
think I've ever seen that before, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, it was definitely a really exciting week, and yeah, this was no exception with the reigning champion being upset here by 1 point. But yeah, it has been a bit of an up and down season for the League of Nations, and yeah, just kind of luck ran out for them a little bit here. You know, Parawalks falling 3 out of Judgment, kind of maybe being what kind of sealed it for League of Nations, which is surprising because he's had such a strong string of wins lately, in and out of THL. So it is quite surprising to see that. But Judgment is also a very, very strong player.
For sure. For sure. If anyone has anything else they want to say about F2L Violet versus the League of Nations or about Pro EU?
Just got to say, as far as champion is concerned, I mean, weirdly enough, F2L only had the opportunity to play in 2 playoff matches, and they actually won this one. Pretty sure they're legally obligated to throw in playoffs. So, congrats to the Pandan Cooks for winning THL Pro EU. We'll recap that next week, of course. But there you go.
So I'll put it like this. Does anyone not think the Panda Cooks are going to win Pro EU?
No.
Okay, in my
okay.
defense, I picked the Panda Cooks last week,
Good
unlike
choice.
everyone else.
Solid.
Okay, I have to make a case for F12 Violet, or else we're all caster cursing. Okay, so Rami is really good and is 6-2. That's pretty strong. And Judgment just 3-0'd an undefeated player, so that's also pretty good and very strong. F12 Violet, F12 Violet is looking very good and is on a win streak. So they will be the winner. Yep. Okay.
Well said. FYI, Judgment has already lost to Lasagna.
Okay.
It's a go next angle.
So
not
I
to
think we
count
should-
out Rami, Rabobson, Copa, and Racino.
Oh, I did.
I mean, I'm going to. No hate on anyone but Rabobson though. I'm literally only trolling Rabobson. The rest of you are great.
Mood.
Yeah, I could see like if Rebob wasn't playing, I could see it, but
Yeah, Rebob's playing, so
I
they're doomed.
I just don't see it.
That's why the wild team keeps winning. Rebob's not a part of it.
So true.
Hey, Rebob's part of the
I
other
don't know. I
wild.
don't know if
the
they
other
keep,
Actually,
wild
so
team.
true.
I don't know if they keep winning. There was
Mm.
like something that happened last season, but
Oh, yeah.
Fake news.
Brett is likely.
So with this, I'm going to bring us back to the main screen so we can talk a little bit, give you our special ad of the night. I'm sure you're all looking forward to it. And then we're going to go into Legacy last. We're ending with the full Legacy block. So tonight, a tale of, I forget what are the 2 words. I haven't
Thunder
played
and
Wild in
Magic?
so long. Yeah, let's say
Two cities. Oh, terrible tragedy. That's what it is.
terrible tragedy. I know there are like 5 different voice lines, so actually you get a random one each time. So let's say a tale of terrible tragedy as Uranium reads us our commercial.
Tonight, a tale of true redemption as Yo, 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 yo. Hey there, Twitcheroos. Have you subscribed to Team Hearth League yet? Then make the day to be a league yourself and subscribe to our channel. This subscription enables the THL team to help coper the various costs of cooperating our website, as well as improve the iCarlity of our streams and content to our whoers. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can super chicken who the channel for free. Subscribers will forget a THL Smojcon as well as a Bigly THL chat badge. So hit that frown button and keep the notifications bing bong to make sure you catch our Team Bat Chest Bing live. We approximate each and every one of you. Special Smoj to our viewers, check out THL's other social media ad interest of points. The website is at teamhearthleague.com. Catch us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us on Discord at Team Hearth League and update us on Tumblr at Kachow Kerchew Kerkow. The True Hearth Leagues himself, Sakhu and Damless Dad, continue Bing to roast all of our vidinos on our YouTube channel. Just search for Teen Heart Leafs to see every Bing previously record bet. You are, of course, watching us on our Mixer channel, Factos, twitch.tv/Team Hearth League, or possibly on our YouTube channel in the future. And for all of your THL fanfics out where, there are THL Smojes every single moist days of the week. I actually ruined my voice. Okay, you can't go bong runestoning in at any time for some Runeterra related content. Cope it up. Now back to the good part. Ka-chow.
Oh man.
Damn,
Whew.
that's hard to beat.
Yeah. The actual worst part was the because that brought everything up. Ow.
Good thing that wasn't the start.
I like how we've actually started to bleed into the actual like promoting THL itself by saying search Teen Heart Leafs on on our YouTube channel.
Who?
I mean, you need to be ready for everything at this point. There are still a few weeks, and maybe we'll get a special reader. I mean, if the European players winners want to come to the show next week, which they do have the right to, and they're much encouraged, but time down is hard. Maybe we'll get one of them to read the commercial. Maybe someone with a British accent. Ooh, that would be fun.
There you go.
But that would mean
I think final week Lotus has to read it.
I think Lotus
Final
already
week
said he
will
would.
actually just be Lotus screaming for 30 seconds.
Oh, I have special plans for commercial for final week. Don't worry. I actually have
Oh,
special
boy.
plans for it already. Don't worry about it. But with that, why don't we start going into Legacy? Because this was the final week of Legacy. Before we actually start going Legacy series, I wanted to ask, Ron, can you recap what was the format for Legacy? So how many conferences do we have? How many teams do we have? And how many make it?
So we had 4 conferences. I don't actually even remember the total number of teams. Is it like 20 something? 20
4.
exactly, maybe?
Yeah, I think
20,
it is
yep.
20.
Oh, wait, no, it is 20. Oops.
Yeah, so 20 teams, 4 conferences, 2 teams from each conference made the playoffs. Only the top 2. So you unfortunately did have certain types of scenarios where maybe a team might have scored 128 points and not made playoffs, and another team might have gotten 116 points and made playoffs. But these things happen sometimes.
No, but you don't get it, Ron. You don't get it. Everyone hated the cross conference playoff qualification, so we had to get rid of it.
That's true. As always, we recommend if you don't like the format or anything in THL, DM Donde. Also, if you just want to complain about life to someone, you can always DM Donde. It's very welcome. He enjoys talking to people.
That
Also,
is a
there's
good
a
point.
good chance he doesn't
He loves
reply.
that. A very extremely high chance that he will not reply, but by all means, still send him all of your messages.
For sure. So let's take a look at Gold Conference. And to tell us What happened in gold? We have Ron Mexico. Ron, tell us what went on in gold conference in the match between the head of gold and the head of red conference.
All right. So for gold, we had How I Met Your Murgle versus the Diamond Five, and it's fine, guys. Diamond Five, we just totally checked out. We're like, oh, we got the top number of points in the whole legacy series locked up anyway, so we don't have to compete too hard. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just what the team took to heart. Because How I Met Your Murgle really took it to us this week. 16-7 win for them. Nice Jewish Owl taking a 5-game series over Neji. That was the only one that really got all that close. The rest were not so close. Vino Spumoni sweeps Stankus Dad. I was able to get a sweep in the 3 seed over MPV, and then it's right back to How I Met Your Murgle sweeping with Corridon taking the 3-0 over Ricescription. And Dr. Fish and Kodamora did play on stream on the Sunday night. Dr. Fish was able to take the 3-1 victory there, just barely off the sweep. How I Met Your Murgle locking up the top spot in gold and punching their ticket to playoffs. Wasn't a total guarantee before the week started, but definitely with the outcome, went very well for them.
For sure. Sure. I want to ask Neji Boston, anything you want to tell us about this match?
Yeah, was not very close, like Ron said. My match against Owl was just him high rolling me really hard and then me high rolling him really hard back and forth. But unfortunately, he high rolled me really hard in the 5th game and I did not. So he won 3-2. It was a great series. I can't speak to many of the other ones because we didn't communicate much this week. We were already locked in, so we didn't do a ton of communication, like I said, but yeah, we definitely got pretty wrecked this week. It is what it is. We'll move on, and playoffs are starting this week, so excited to get into that.
For sure. For sure. Ron, what happened to gold in the end?
So gold finished up with How I Met Your Murgle at the top, and colon closed parentheses. The Smile team was able to get the number 2 spot to make their way into playoffs. All plays magnified a little bit off to Stubbs and not Justin. Looking forward to next season.
All right. So let's move to Red Conference, where to talk to us about the great match for second place of Red, Neji, tell us about School of Fish facing the Stubbs.
All right, we have School of Fish taking a big win, 16-8 over the Stubbs. This was very important for the standings and the outcome for playoffs here. With School of Fish only 8 points ahead of F2L White and picking up a lot of points in this match. They got a 3-0 with Yo Daddy over Epic Mingo, Zancat 3-1 over Chronos HS, Lemur 3-0 over Smear, Two Fly 3-1 over Osmonaut, and Laughing Frog in the 5 seed 3-2 over Karufinway. I'm not sure. I'd have to check the standings. No, so the match was not super relevant for the Stubbs this week, as gold was pretty figured out. But School of Fish for sure. This definitely prevented F2L White from getting to the playoffs. I'm not sure how F2L White's match went. I don't know if they won or lost.
Lost.
Lost. Okay, so F2L White might have been able to control their own destiny a little bit, but School of Fish pick up a lot of points, definitely made it a bit tougher. So well done to them. We'll see them in the playoffs.
For sure. So, Geranium, anything you want to add about this match here?
Yeah, actually. So the School of Fish really just needed to win and in. Red Conference was very close going into this. It was 101, I think, for Pod People. Yeah, 101 for Pod People, 98 for F2L White, and then 97 for School of Fish. So School of Fish was in fourth starting this. But then, yeah, Smear did the 1-2 combo of Get Player of the Week into Get Swept. But the rest of his team held strong and got them that win. So they did end up moving on because F2LY and Pod People both lost. So yeah, just winning in there. The Stubbs actually was like technically in contention and was in contention for a while. But a match we didn't cover. My team was in second and then full swept our match, so it just didn't leave anyone else in Gold Conference a chance.
That's fair. So I want to ask Neji, the standings here. The Diamond Five and School Fish made it really close, right?
Yeah, School of Fish almost got there. They just needed like 3 more weeks of wins, and they might have been able to pass us.
That's fair.
But we are playing them in the first round, so maybe they can take it down.
True. Going to have to see how the rematch goes this week. Let's hop on to Silver though, because it isn't over yet. And to tell us about Silver Conference, we had quite the crazy match going on. Chicken, what happened in Silver?
Indeed, what happened? Yeah, classic team that is already qualified for playoffs, perhaps not preparing as hard as they normally would. Yeah, I mean, we're happy to guarantee like the actually no, we were already guaranteed the first seed. Yeah, we were really playing for nothing. Justin and I decided to randomize our classes for fun. So I got mage, priest, rogue, and warrior, and he got druid, hunter, shaman, and warlock. Um, Turns out the worst class out of all of those 8 was hunter by a lot. Hunter did not win a single game. It was incredibly bad. Yeah, hunter really sucks now. Like it's really bad. Yeah, I think I was able to beat it very easily with rogue. So yeah, if you like winning, stop playing hunter.
You heard it here first. Ron, should you stop playing Hunter?
You can't make me.
Very well.
I'm
Those
on
are
your
fine.
team. I sure can.
Listen, Hunter's still fine.
I
Hoping.
I for
news.
one hope Ron keeps playing hunter in playoffs.
Mhm.
So rude.
So, anything else anyone wants to say about this match before we talk about the standings? Okay, now, Chicken, this was really, really close in the battle for the second place, wasn't it? Who made it?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit surprisingly, XD fell out of their second place spot in the last week, and IDK narrowly took the second playoff spot out of them with a very strong week, if I remember correctly. XD having a bit of a down week. Not the not we will cover that match. So don't worry about that one. But yeah, IDK clutches it out in the very last week, and it was still insanely close because I think XD had a bit of a point cushion over IDK going into the last week. So um, yeah, just crazy stuff. It was very cool, like being able to watch the playoff race in every conference because it felt like there was so much going on in every conference. I mean, there was I mean, I know at least there was a very tight race in like silver, red, and blue. And I think gold was fairly close as well. So just yeah, very exciting week for Legacy.
Zilfs were pretty close in gold. IDK was, I think, 6 points back from XD heading into the final week, and were able to jump ahead.
Now, let me move us to the Blue Conference. So we end the show even early. See, I told you all there was enough material for a show, or there was plenty of material for a show. We were going to end in time. So here, moving to Blue Conference, I want to ask, I think it is Geranium. Yeah, Geranium. Tell us, who stopped Zyrella's disciples from making it in Silver Conference?
Yes, this was Hot Zilfs versus Darrell's Disciples. Hot Zilfs is always one of the teams that maybe starts a little bit out of it and then sneaks right back into playoffs every single season. And they really tried for it again here in the Blue Conference with a bunch of huge weeks and a win this final week, 14-12 over XD with Astral Frog sweeping Jespine and Jimfalos sweeping Judo Chop. And even though they lost the last 3 matches, all points matter. And they were all game 5s. Just Concede winning game 5 over Coles, Deliver game 5 over Donde, and G-Kick game 5 over Chronic. And 2 undefeated players here are not making playoffs. Zarella's Disciples did have that point cushion going into it, and that's why this is one of the more important matches for that. Is they just barely don't make it with those 2 points. Final thing I'll say before handing it off to someone else is Hot Zilf started with the 2 wins, Astral Frog sweeping and Jimfalo sweeping. So it really did look extremely close between them and the Justin team before the Justin team pulled ahead in the final bits.
So, I want to ask Chicken here. Were you expecting it to be this close in this particular match to the point where it brought down XD?
Yeah, Hot Sylphs were in a pretty similar situation. I did think XD was just the stronger team on paper. Um, I mean, having Just Concede, who might win, like might just win Legacy MVP, and the 1 seed G Kick in the 4 is still insane to me. He's just been so good for XD. Like what an like insane pickup he was for them. Yeah, unfortunately that wasn't enough for XD or the Sylphs actually. Both of them did not get enough points with this being such a scrappy back and forth week. So yeah, kind of the worst the worst case scenario for both of these teams. But yeah, I did expect XD to win going into this. And they didn't really need to win by much. They only needed to basically just get a win and they would have made playoffs. So pretty tough break for them, especially the 2 undefeated players on the team. But they did have a pretty good season in I think what I think was the toughest conference to play in. So yeah, just a bit unlucky I suppose with the matchups they got, but that is just how it goes sometimes. You get tough pairings, just need to win them.
Yes, scheduling can be cruel sometimes. No one knows it better than the gatekeepers themselves. Hot Zilfs, they were able to keep XD out of playoffs, but they finished with 128 points and a 6-2 record, and there are 2 4-4 teams at 116 and 118 points apiece that made playoffs instead of them just due to conference layout. So unfortunate season for them. I'm sure they'll be looking to take their vengeance out next season.
You always go 6-2 and miss playoffs.
Brutal.
That's fair. So, right now, I want to ask here, Geranium again. Can you tell us how close were the Zilfs to making it?
Yeah, so looking at the conference standings at the end of it, I'm sorry about that. Looking at the conference standings at the end of it, it ended with E.T. Cthulhu being just 3 points ahead of 4 out of 5 Justins, 140 points, and getting the top seed. 4 out of 5 Justins got to 137. E.T. Cthulhu ended up not playing their final match because it didn't matter for their like conference seeding. It did matter for overall seeding, but oh well. Hot Zilfs got to 128, so 9 points out from playoffs, unfortunately. And then there's the drop. There's the Cooler at 80 and Dumbledore's Army at 72, who were mathematically eliminated a while ago.
Yeah. This is just such a crazy last week. Everything was so tight for so many matches. I don't know. I haven't seen a first week of playoffs this side. It's been a while since we've seen this much competition in playoffs or in the week before playoffs. So let's take a look at what is going to happen next week in Legacy. We're going to see the Diamond Five facing the School of Fish. We're going to see E.T. Cthulhu facing IDK. We're going to see Smiley Face facing the Legacy 22 whatever team that I don't remember. We're going to see How I Met Your Murgle, best name of the season. By the way, I just want to say, I've said it before many times, but I will say it again. I love this team name and logo. Everything is amazing. Against the 4 out of 5 Justins. So everyone here is in playoffs. So instead of doing the typical thing of asking us to say who we think is going to make it, I will add a constraint here. If it's not your team who wins, who does win? So I'm going to start with Neji Boston first.
Let's see. Surely J.R. Juggerlaw wins Legacy playoffs. That's all I have to say.
Very well.
IDK pick, solid.
Yep.
One IDK pick for Neji Boston. And Chicken, if the season 22 Legacy closed, I don't even remember the team name and I cannot memorize it at this point, isn't going to win, who is?
Yeah, don't worry, Lotus. We'll change it next season. It'll be easier.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the obvious pick, but I have to go with the Diamond 5. They're sitting at about like what 2100 PR at this point or something like that. Because they have been winning a lot this season, believe it or not. And yeah, I think they will continue to win. They like have been winning their weeks like extremely convincingly. So it is hard to see, especially a lot of the teams on the left side of the bracket. It's hard to see them not making finals in general. Like I think some of the teams on the right side of the bracket might give them a bit of trouble, but yeah, I will say the left side of the bracket. I don't think there are any teams that really challenge the Diamond Five enough to put them at risk of losing.
Yep. I love that statement after what happened last season, but let's ignore that. We're
Yeah,
not
no,
talking.
this is gonna age greatly. I'm sure of it.
Easy clip.
That's fair. So, Geranium, if it is not your team, who wins Legacy?
Oh, not only that, Lotus, I will say my team will not win Legacy because 4 out of 5 Justins is going to surpass us and win the entire thing, regardless of whether we were destined to win. 4 out of 5 Justins can only ever lose to one team when Justin is at the helm, and that's the Cooler. That's the only team they lost to this season. That's the only team they're going to lose to ever since they lost their last finals to them. So 4 out of 5 Justins recommends you step lightly.
Are you assuming they won't bring Genzi in for the final match?
I don't think that there will be the naming of the firstborn on the line. So no.
All
Fair.
right. And last but not least, Run Mexico. If the Diamond Five doesn't win, who wins?
Well, Lotus they're gonna have to remind you of their names somehow. So maybe this will do it. And the season 22 closed list conquest participants will be a team that you will remember as they take down the legacy title, beating your team first, by the way, in this round of the playoffs on their way to the championship, provided they actually beat the Diamond Five. Which, hey, come on, they're not gonna.
Very well. Um, well, we'll talk to you next week when we talk about how School of Fish beat Diamond Five and a lot of the ramifications of what that means for the future of THL. And in the meanwhile, let's come back to the main screen where we have our checkout question of the night. And I changed the checkout question last minute because I'm a rebel in tonight's show. And my question is the Hearthstone team has said multiple times that there's going to be a surprise with the next batch. Something special is happening. There's some rumors of Death Knights. What do you think will happen? What should happen to make Hearthstone more engaging? And I'm going to start with this question with Neji Boston.
I think they should delete Theotar the Mad Duke. That's about it. No, I will.
Good
I'll
comment.
just add in that the last balance patch did absolutely nothing to the Theotar play experience, and that it should be changed again. And that should happen in the next patch. I would also be excited if they brought in some old cards, brought in some new cards, just shake things up a bit. Not just like a balance patch, but like an actual content update would be exciting as long as they nerf Theotar in the process. Yep.
That's fair. Chicken, what do you think they should do for the next batch?
Um, yeah, it's tough to say because I think like last year the mini set or had the mini set even come out at this point yet? Like I
It
think the
came
mini
out
set
late
came
because
out
there was
I
Mercs.
think that yeah, I
Mercs
think
the
the
late.
mini set was much later this time last year. Um
Yeah,
yeah, so it does like I am enjoying the meta right now. I do think the nerfs were actually quite relevant. Hunter is really fallen off, and I think like the Theotar nerf is obviously not immediately like it doesn't seem immediately huge, but I think it is subtly quite significant. Um, like changing a card by 1 mana like historically has actually made quite a bit of difference. And I think especially like whiffing on Theotar, just playing a 5 mana 3/3 that like doesn't have a good effect, it's just so detrimental. And even just like it's so much harder to play Theotar on curve now. Um, not being able to coin him out on 3 to steal something important, or yeah, like the fact that he just comes down a turn later now on curve is a pretty big deal. Like you really can't play this in a deck that wants to play for tempo ever. So like if you were running this in Big Beast Hunter before, it's so bad now. I think it's even bad in Big Spell Mage now, because the deck is fairly tempo oriented as opposed to Spooky Mage, which can play a bit slower. Um, but yeah, I think it's still good in slow decks. Decks where you have a lot of mana to work with, like Druid, that will still be good, I think. And yeah, stuff like that. Like the slower decks, I think Paladin will still make good use of it in Control Paladin. So I think it'll still find a place in the meta, but will definitely its impact will not be as severe.
very well. Ron Mexico, what is going to happen in the next batch?
So I've heard the rumors about Death Knights, and I'm very excited about it. I mean, clearly, what has to happen? We need to murder Anduin, and we need to resurrect him as a Death Knight. So we'll stay as 10 classes, but Priest will be gone, and there will be a new class, and it will be the Death Knight class, which replaces Priest, and there will be much rejoicing. But no, more seriously, it's probably something a lot more exciting, like nerfing Prince Renathal from 3 mana to 4 mana. That'll be huge.
Very well. And certainly not least, Geranium Battle. Anything you are looking forward to in the next patch? What do you think will happen?
Ron stole mine. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say basically the same thing. I think that the Hearthstone team realizes that 27 deck slots is too confusing, and 10 classes is too confusing, and they will reduce both to 9 by deleting Priest, something that players have asked for a very long time. And yeah, no, more likely, Prince Renathal will become a 3/3. Not being Spider Tank stats is, extremely terrible for that card, and it will never see play again.
Nice.
Fair. Well, we'll see what actually happens. I want to take this time to give us very special thanks to our hosts tonight. I want to thank Ron Mexico, Neji Boston, Geranium Battle, and Super Chicken. I want to congratulate all THL teams that made playoffs and remind you all that I think there's still time to apply to captain. I don't actually know, but Diamaco, if you want to apply to captain and you haven't yet, but including that, just make sure you start planning. Well, once teams are over, you start planning your team for next season because that is arriving soon. And don't poach players from the top teams. A reminder: if you're a captain and you're planning to captain next season, you shouldn't be talking to players from other teams yet. Wait until the season is over. So, with that said, I want to wish everyone of our viewers a great night. Thank you for watching. There may be match shows. If you want to play on stream, do message the Stream Match channel. And have a good evening, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Peace. Nerf Theo.